The yellow legal pad exists because not all thinking wants to be preserved. For most of history, writing was an act of record keeping. Clay tablets, parchment, bound books, and ledgers were built to hold information across time. The materials were durable. The formats were deliberate. Writing was slow, expensive, and intentional. You wrote when something mattered enough to endure. As paper became cheaper and literacy expanded, writing began to shift. It was no longer only about memory. It became a tool for thinking itself. Notes, drafts, calculations, reminders, and outlines appeared everywhere. These forms of writing were not meant to last. They were meant to help something else happen. That shift created a problem. Older writing tools were not designed to solve. Books assumed continuity. Loose sheets created disorder. What was needed was a surface that allowed thinking to unfold without demanding permanence or creating chaos. The legal pad emerged to fill that gap. It did not replace notebooks or ledgers. It replaced hesitation. It created a space where writing could occur without consequence. The most important design choice is the binding. Pages are glued along the top edge just firmly enough to stay aligned, but weakly enough to release cleanly. This creates a psychological effect as much as a mechanical one. You are not committing to the page. You are borrowing it. When the page has served its purpose, it leaves without resistance. This is why legal pads are top-bound rather than side-bound. Side binding implies sequence. Top binding implies replacement. Each page is expected to stand alone. The pad does not preserve narrative. It preserves flow. The cardboard backing reinforces this assumption. It anticipates writing that happens away from desks, during meetings, phone calls, inspections, court proceedings, or moments of interruption. The pad does not wait for ideal conditions. It supports thinking wherever it happens. The margin is often dismissed as tradition, but it is behavioral design. It divides attention into zones. Primary thoughts occupy the wide field. Secondary thoughts, notes, revisions, reminders, collect along the side. This allows thinking to layer itself without forcing revision or restart. The page becomes a temporary map of attention. The paper itself is carefully balanced, thick enough to resist bleed-through, thin enough to feel disposable. You are not meant to protect the page. You are meant to use it. The material communicates this immediately. Then there is the color. Yellow was not chosen to stand out. It was chosen to soften. White paper reflects light harshly. Yellow reduces glare and eye fatigue, especially under artificial lighting. More importantly, yellow makes the writing feel provisional. Words written on yellow paper feel like drafts, even when they are legible. This matters because the legal pad is not optimized for memory. It is optimized for permission. Permission to write poorly. Permission to cross things out. Permission to abandon an idea halfway through. The object does not reward neatness or completion. Human behavior shapes every detail of this design. People interrupt themselves. They revise mid-thought. Lists turn into diagrams. Diagrams turn into nothing at all. The legal pad accommodates this by refusing to enforce structure. Unlike notebooks, it does not imply continuity. Unlike loose paper, it does not create disorder. It occupies a middle ground, structured enough to hold thoughts, flexible enough to release them. The aha moment arrives when you realize the legal pad is not a writing tool at all. It is a thinking buffer. It absorbs uncertainty so the thinker doesn't have to. It holds incomplete ideas long enough for clarity to emerge, then steps aside. This is why digital tools have not replaced it. Digital notes remember everything. Legal pads forget on your behalf. When you tear off a page, you are signaling closure. The thought has moved on. The object makes that transition physical. At the end of the day, most pages from a legal pad are not saved. They are recycled, discarded, or lost. That is not failure. That is success. The value was never in the paper. It was in what the paper allowed to happen. Invisible design often looks unimpressive because it removes friction instead of adding features. The yellow legal pad does exactly that. It makes thinking easier by refusing to make it permanent.